I can stop whenever you want me to stop.
Yeah, we'll keep going for a minute.
There's so many campsites. Captain's log number 3000 something. Anyways, so this is part 2. I haven't really recorded an intro yet because we only just recorded an outro for the last video like 2 hours ago. And our rule that we set out in place was when it hit 4 o'clock, we're gonna find camp. Well, this is our situation right now. The trail we're on has been extremely tight. We haven't seen camp in miles. But if I look at my map, we are literally almost done. So the situation is right now, we are going to, we're gonna continue down this Forest Service road and hope we find a campsite. If not, we might be actually finishing this trail tonight. Yep, no idea. We weren't expecting this to do this trail in a day. That's not what we set out to do. But we were also not expecting to not actually find any campsites along this entire Forest Service road. Also, we haven't seen a soul since the hunters back quite a few miles, about an hour ago. So that's the situation. I think I'm gonna send Edgar out to get some camera footage of this tight trail, me rolling by. But yeah, let's see if we end up doing this in a day or if we actually find a campsite, because right now we're dealing with trails that are barely big enough for our truck. Oh, my truck. It's quite rocky. It's not too bad. I've hit a skid plate maybe twice. Otherwise though, yeah, I mean, we're just gonna keep pushing forward and hope we find camp. If not, we'll continue into Moab in the night. And because once we get done with this trail, it's all dirt roads, and find camp in Moab and screw around in Moab tomorrow. Anyways, let's press on. Well guys, we still haven't found a campsite, and we got to the point where I am so annoyed with driving this rocky road, because we've been on this road for almost 10 hours, 9.5 hours. My leg kind of hurts from constantly being on the pedal. I put it in 4 low just to kind of coast without using brake. And now I've gotten to the point where I'm using crawl control. And it's kind of nice. It's nice off-road cruise control. So, lessons learned, and this is a lesson for anybody attempting this trail. Camp at the campground right at the Colorado-Utah border. The Buckeye or Buckhorn. I had to look it up to be exactly sure. I'll probably end up
Buckeye.
Yeah, sure. Buckeye campground, or there's a Pioneer campground. Camp there. That's a good spot. Because as of right now, it's looking more and more like we might actually just finish this trail tonight. Even though we really don't want to. We want to do it in 2 days. We didn't come out here expecting to do it in 1 day. But here we are, potentially doing it in 1 day. So learn from our mistakes. I think we'll be doing this again and camping at that campground instead. But yes, continue watching, see what happens, because our next cut might be at the campsite. Holy shit, we found a campsite. So we didn't make it much further from where we were. Everything kind of opened up into like this more, I guess, more familiar looking Moab. Just like more sand, less rocks, these more like, I think they're juniper trees. And found a camp. There's an old fire pit here, kind of off the trail, which is really nice. We just finished leveling off. So now we're just gonna set up, drink some beer, and chill.
Finally. Rimrocker can be done in a day. 100%.
Yes. In the middle of summer, when you have the most daylight and you start at like 5 a.m. as first light, it can be done in a day.
So I think one of the reasons that you could get it done in a day would be, A, we had very little to almost no other vehicles coming the other way, right?
Yeah.
Secondly, it's not a really difficult trail. Honestly, if you take it easy on a stock truck, it's not bad at all.
Stock small truck. I will say, if you do not mind pinstriping, a full-size rig can do this trail no problem. But
that's like a big person getting on a treadmill. It can happen, but it doesn't feel very great.
The Utah side has an extremely tight bit. I have some pinstriping on my passenger side, but it can be done in a full-size rig.
Yes.
It's just very tight. It's very rocky. If you don't mind hitting some skid plates once in a while, if you don't, actually take it slow.
Right, but again, the truck is pretty way down with, the coolers, the water, and the totes of items, our bags.
Tent.
So the tent, the
2
awnings.
people.
So there's a lot of stuff going on in the truck. If you had the
Air down tires. If you had the same truck, without any of that, or with half of that, it would be fine to do this, honestly. A stock Tacoma can do this no problem. Stock full-size rig can do this no problem. if you don't mind pinstriping.
On the Utah side.
Yeah.
Because the
Colorado
Colorado
side.
side was pretty open. I don't think there were many sections or areas where it was, tight or extremely challenging. I honestly, so we met up with some people. I think right after we got off 141, and they decided to do it backwards from Utah to Moab, or from Moab over to Montrose, and they did that because they wanted it to be more challenging. I agree it's more challenging, but from Colorado to Utah was actually a lot prettier.
Yeah, the Colorado side had some views, and if we went at the right time of year, like if we went 2 weeks before right now, the fall colors would have been flourishing. There's a lot of trees up in the mountains right now that don't have color. They have no leaves left on them. We may have been like 2 weeks too late.
Yeah, we went through a lot of areas where it had a lot of older aspens as well. Extremely old, actually.
They're quite big. Like, I was surprised how big those aspens were. They're very old.
Yeah, and it would have been amazing to see that. So, if you're seeing this, now I would totally plan on going, what did we say, mid to late October would be a pretty good season.
Mid to late September. I mean, we're mid-October.
September.
Yeah, we're mid-October right now. Another thing I will say, don't try to do it in one day. It was kicking our ass.
Kicking his ass.
He was, right, as a driver, it was kicking my ass. This Utah side is very rocky. It's not challenging in any way. It's just very rocky, very bumpy. We don't know what the end of the trail is. This is a mid-video interview. Mid part 2 video. We still have the remainder bit. I think it's maybe 20, 30 miles. It's not very,
we don't have much
hours
left.
It's a few hours left. We got very fortunate. We found a campsite. In hindsight, camping right at the Colorado-Utah border on the Colorado side would have been way better.
It was gorgeous.
Yeah, it was gorgeous, and there was plentiful campsites.
Yeah.
As soon as you pass the border, there's a lot of campsites, but this time of year, there's a lot of hunters taking up those campsites.
Yes.
So, also, the campsites just aren't as great. They're very open. It was very windy. They're great in a pinch. There's plenty of campsites. At the same time, I wish that we would have just stayed at the campground, which was a free campground. To be fair, they had dispersed sites, dispersed as we know it. But there was campsites. There was a campground right before the Utah border, and I wish we actually stopped there. It was maybe about 2 miles further than where we stopped for lunch.
Yeah.
Which is why we didn't stop, because it was 2 o'clock in the afternoon, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and we're like, why stop here? As soon as you pass all the campsites on the Utah side, as soon as you get to the tight bit, there are no more campsites until you get closer to Moab. Like I said, we're maybe 2 hours out, and we are on day 1. We got 9.5 hours of driving in. Granted, I wasn't taking it easy on a lot of the smooth bits, and I wasn't taking it easy on the rocky bits either. I beat the fuck out of my truck. If I put this thing on a lift, you might see some damaged skid plates underneath there or a damaged control arm, because I don't take it easy. But at the same time, it's really not a difficult trail, and it can be done in a day. Just don't do it.
Good morning. So today's the last day on the trail. We got a little bit of a stretch to Moab to go, and then we're going to be done. Camp was pretty good. We didn't really have any breakfast. We just had some coffee. We're kind of just really ready to hit the road, So we're going to go hit it and see how long it takes us to get to Moab from here. Hopefully only a couple hours.
What's up, guys? So I think we're at the end of the dirt part of the Rimrocker. I see pavement up there. We just finished off on this trail here, and now we see pavement. It's time to fill up tires and head into actual Moab. So I use kind of cheap. I use a Smittybilt air compressor. It works quite well. It does take a little bit of time, but it is what it is. So yeah, we're gonna get all 4 filled up and get back on the road. Finish this whole thing up right in the center of Moab. Wow, so much more stiff. Yeah, airing down makes a difference. And here we go. Pavement for the first time in a couple days. It's weird, it's very smooth. We're not completely done with the Rimrocker as we had to get right in the middle of Moab, but for all intents and purposes, we're done with the dirt. Now we just need to get into Moab and call this a day. Good morning, guys. It is the next morning. The morning after we finish the Rimrocker. And you join us in beautiful Gemini Bridges area in Moab, or right outside of Moab, technically. We decided to camp here last night after exploring some trails that I'd already done. And no, we didn't record it because this video series is about Rimrocker. So, in summary, Rimrocker's fun, right?
Yeah, I mean, it was much shorter than it gets advertised. I think a key...
The right distance just doesn't take nearly as long.
Sure.
It's 160 miles. Let's not get that fooled. It's still long. But it doesn't take 3 days. Maybe if you don't drive half the distance in one day, or 3/4 the distance, or in our case, 90% of it. Sunday morning, our second day, we got done in 2 hours. We were... Wait, 2 hours? Or...
I'd say like 2 hours, two
Yeah.
and a half hours.
Yeah, because I think we left at, what, 7:30?
Mm-hmm.
We got there at 9 o'clock, though. So it only took like an hour and a half. Whatever. We didn't keep track. The last part really wasn't bad. Kind of going along some back roads along 191 was kind of weird. And then going through neighborhoods outside of Moab was kind of weird. But it was fun. I would do it again, but I would camp halfway through at the Colorado-Utah border. That's definitely something I would do.
Yeah.
Otherwise, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Sorry for the late outro. We probably should have recorded this yesterday, but we were enjoying doing nothing for a little bit.
And we ran out of beer, so lost motivation.
Yeah, that doesn't help either. Anyways, thanks for watching.